Hey everyone, I wanted to take some time to thank my patients, friends, and family, and subscribers to trust me with your care, and also encourage me to take care of my own health. This quantum shift that I'm going through should be pretty exciting, maybe a little bit of a roller coaster, but hang on, it should be a good ride. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, otherwise enjoy the next video. So I just finished up the Ignite Your Life conference, and I think I got everything. So the Ignite Your Life conference was held at Advocate Sherman Hospital, and this was awesome. About a week ago, there was only about 30 people that signed up, and I was a little apprehensive that nobody was going to come, and that's okay. I've done one-on-one lectures before, but in this last surge, especially since I announced my leaving, which if you didn't hear, I'm leaving, hopefully temporarily at Advocate, but not the area. I am just beginning to make my footprint. So that's always been the problem, is insurance pays for disease management, and you certainly have to worry about your co-pays, but the problem is if you are just going with what your insurance covers, you're going to be shortcutted, because the idea is that insurance doesn't really pay for getting you better. I think it takes care of reversing big disease, but it's disease management. It's not really health insurance. So you have to be careful. And one of the coaches that I saw today, Coach Stu, also it resonated with him that you have some investment. So, I mean, now that I'm not going to have insurance, well, I'll probably have medical insurance, I don't know where, but it's going to be premium. You got to pay that monthly, and the monthly is going to be painfully high, but there is a tax deduction that you can make, so I think it's worth it. Either way though, when we are so focused on trying to go the cheapest route, I think that we can sometimes, you get what you pay for, so that cheap route might not serve you well. No question, if you really have a whole bunch of disease, you got to do what the doctor says, but once that disease is taken care of, then you see the coaches that were, there's nobody here now. This place was full, and it was really cool. One of the more successful lectures, but you know, again, it was to empower people to make changes that they probably didn't think about. So when you have a medical problem and you are suffering, you have to reverse the problem quickly. And that's where Western medicine does come in handy. But we can only do so much. Doctors can only do so much. We can stop suffering real quick by anti-suffering pills, I guess. We can also stop progression of disease real quick with anti-disease progressing pills and or anti-disease specialists. And I think that's fine, because if you're really in a bad way, then you need it. But the problem is, if you don't know what you're doing, and you have a hospital system, not Advocate. I think Advocate's good because they gave me 5 years of allowance to do what I do best and actually refine it. So I'm so appreciative of this hospital. But the problem would be that, yeah, as I mentioned before, the insurance is getting lower and lower as far as reimbursement. So docs and hospitals have to scramble to stay afloat. So it's always going to be, what kind of investment do you want to make to stop the suffering? If the suffering is from If the suffering is temporary, cool. I'd say take some temporary measures. Temporary medicines, temporary prescriptions. I'm just going to sit here for a sec. And you should be okay. But if you're not okay, then you need more temporary medicines. So that's how it goes. Once you are okay, then you have to have somebody architect or design another stepping stone to getting better and healing. And that's outside the realm of insurance. So that's where disease management has to stop or maintain itself, but healthy investment has to start. No matter how deep you are into the crap, I think there's always a way to reverse it. Because honestly, even if you're plateaued and you think you're doing okay, what's going to change is your age. And then you got to reformulate and get more medicines, or start to make the changes that you should have done earlier. So with suffering, it's too easy to just stay solidly quiet. I mean, that's the first thing you should do, is do no further harm. But don't just, humans aren't meant to just be like that. Dr. Stu had put a picture of how important the brain is for invertebrates. Once an invertebrate attaches to where it's supposed to be, it loses the brain because you don't have to move anymore. And he had a very good point that the brain is for movement and mobility. And when you don't move anymore, this goes. And we don't want that. Those of you who are caregivers, you know how bad things are. You get so driven. I have a lot of patients who are caregiving, and I tell them, you know what? Make sure you have to honor our parents. You got to take care of them now, but you got to pace yourself. You have to have some inkling of a break to get away, or at least not even physically get away, mentally get away. That's why you are in control of sleep. And if you can't get to sleep because you're so arduously thinking about the next day, or you're so much embattled in grinding your teeth for what happened that day, you'll never be in the moment of having good sleep. So Dr. Nicole Parmalee gave some really nice suggestions. I don't know if I was able to capture all this on video, but hopefully I'll be able to fish it out somewhere from YouTube or Facebook. All the coaches had great ideas, and you have to just find your groove. You have to get the investment in to help somebody find your groove, and because you can get it faster. If you do it on your own, you can probably get to that point of what I call boring. When I have a couple patients, and one, Suzanne, came today, and I've always said that she's boring because she got she reversed disease so much that it's like, I have nothing else to suggest to you. So if you're one of my patients and I say you're boring, that's actually very, very healthy. I hope to be boring, and I thought I was boring until that oral surgeon, Mike, came by, and I heard his story, and it was actually my story. And I told him that the universe works in mysterious ways. He didn't have to seek me out. He didn't have to, and what's the cool thing is, like you guys are doing, he was able to make not a 180-degree turn, but 90 degrees away from suffering just from watching videos. So I assume these things are working. So I really appreciate you guys watching. This is more of a rant and a journey documentation, so it's not really guidance, but I guess in a way it could be guidance, because if you watch me go through the steps I'm going through, and it's tough to step away from a really good practice. And the practice I have, I loved it, but you know, I do listen. I do listen to in here. I just wasn't listening because I was trying to keep up with the medical insurance and the documentation, the requirements by medical insurance to document this or go back and fix it, or so. And I want my patients to be successful. So I guess the only way to, I guess the bottom line is, I have to be successful. If I'm not successful, there's no way that's going to rub off on patients. And if anything, I will start to steal their success to put it on my plate. And that would be in the success I think that my patients garnish is with time. Because I honestly don't think I do anything outside the box. I just try to figure out, this is what Andy Weil told me, anyone can know everything about medicine, but it really takes someone that's listening to figure out which parts of medicine have to be applied to this life in front of me. So I still think it takes good training, but it takes time. And if your doc is in and out in 10 minutes, granted, if it's not a cold, if it's a red ear, that's fine. I can get a red ear diagnosed and treated in 10 minutes. But if you have something else going on, which most of us do, and your doc spends only 10 minutes, honor him. He's probably salaried and he has to fit the quota, and it is that, because insurance, if it pays, as I mentioned, 10 cents to the dollar, and then you have to explain why you're doing dollar work, I don't think that the people that pay your salary are going to be that much interested in your spending $1 instead of time, instead of spending 10 minutes of time. So unfortunately, anybody that's salaried does have to produce, at least break even, but I'm not even breaking even. And I should say not me, the advocate's not breaking even. So I honor them in trying to do the best they can, but hopefully the specialty that Andy Weil started, integrative medicine, will be recognized across the board, and we'll be known as specialists, not the typical specialists that cut or give disease-modifying agents of medicine, but the specialist that will take his time and assess. And in China, they have Western medicine hospital systems, and Eastern medicine hospital systems. So they have major surgeries and cancer therapy. They also have acupuncture, gua sha, tai chi, and qigong. 2 different hospital systems, but they all equally exist. So I think there's value to honoring slow, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go slow. So I had a litany of patients saying goodbye mostly. So I really appreciate you guys saying goodbye, and really the inspiration. Each person that told me goodbye, there was some sadness, and this is my dad, and this is my mom, and they're always with me. They're with me when I hit 14,000 feet. They're with me at Yosemite. They're going to be with me in Everest in 3 years. So it is because of he was a physician, Osmundo Saguil. He was a physician, changed a lot of lives. I think I'm finally doing that. I just realized that now. I always wanted to be like my dad. I just realized that. So, but I just gotta find my way, I guess. So you don't have to watch me. Nobody's watching, I guess. So anyway, this is part of the journey, is just going through the rough spots, and it's a rough spot, but you know what? I'm going to shine. And you guys that follow me are going to see some real good things happen. So stay tuned. I appreciate you watching and subscribing. And if you know anybody that's suffering, please pass this to them. Maybe if they watch my journey and my stepping away, they'll have the bravery to do it too. Because I thank God for my wife, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do this. But I plan on being a better doctor and a better husband and a better Rick Saguil when I get back. So thank you.